Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I offer you the truth. I offer you the truth. Well, what I believe to be the truth anyway. Everything's up for debate. But I like to think I come with certain truths on this channel. And I have to say, before I start off, thank you very much for the 1,000 subscriptions. I appreciate that. And thank you for my country men and women that have came in their droves and subscribed to this channel. I appreciate every single one of you. And I think we're on the same wavelength. There's a lot of people coming in here looking for refuge from the big bad mainstream media that are calling us far right and far this and bigots and racists. And you're not. I know you aren't. I know you're not. You're none of those things. You are just a normal person worried about your country. I get that. The Irish people are very accepting. We've lived in a multicultural society for a very long time. We're going to be speaking about a lot of stuff today. 3 subjects. Well, we're going to try to speak about 2 main ones. If we don't get to the third one, because it's the least of my worries. It's about the last one we're going to be speaking about is Andrew Tate being a fake Muslim. And you just need to tune in if you want to hear that and hear my viewpoints on that. The first thing we're going to be speaking about is unionism. We're going to be speaking about unionism, nationalism, loyalism, republicanism. Now, I'm getting a lot of people coming into this channel, right? And they're loyalists and they're unionists living in the north here, right? They're British. They're British. Their heritage would be loyalism. Their ancestors fought for the loyalist paramilitaries against the IRA back in the day. That's it, plain and simple. But we've came to a balance now, and I've got a lot of subscribers from the north here that are loyalists, that are unionists. And I respect you. I want you here. I want to hear your viewpoints. I'm not against you. That, there was a lot of killing and murdering back in the day, but you do come with this viewpoint that we tried to tell you. You just come to me sometimes and say, well, look, we tried to warn you about this. Well, what I'm about to present to you today is, it's not evidence. It's not solid proof of unionists liaising with far left groups, but it's a credible person called Paul Golding, who is the leader of Britain First. You would know Paul Golding from being in, I think it was the BNP? Could have been the British Nationalist Party, along with Nick Griffin, who was outed as an actual racist, by the way, and he was anti-Semitic and all those things. You couldn't get into that group unless you were like a white Protestant. He was a proper racist. And, well, Paul Golding separated from that group because of all the chaos that was happening, and he's created his new party called Britain First. He's the leader. And you would know Paul Golding from recent events where he outed Reform UK and their establishment policies. Basically, Reform UK is an establishment, their owned opposition, their controlled opposition. It's basically trying to siphon all the right-wing voters into a dead end with this Reform UK. If you look at their policies, they're trying to bring in 500,000 more people into the UK with this whole net migration. If you look at net migration, it's just one in and one out. Do you know what I mean? So they are a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, the clip you're about to watch from Paul Golding, he talks about, I think it was the BNP's headquarters, and the BNP's headquarters was in the north of Ireland here. Ironically, the British Nationalist Party's headquarters was on foreign soil. Now, people will say, well, it's not on foreign soil, Ronan, because Northern Ireland's a part of the UK. Well, some people disagree with that. You would think the British Nationalist Party's base would be in mainland England. It wasn't. It was in the north here. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We'll debate that another time. What he releases is that a prominent unionist in the north of Ireland that represented the loyalist and the unionist community was in cahoots with Hope Not Hate, the far left organization that targeted Tommy Robinson and many other people that tried to expose government corruption. So you would have to ask yourself, why was there a unionist in the north of Ireland here linked in with one of these groups? This isn't a ha-ha moment, because Sinn Féin are an absolute shambles. They're owned by Europe. This is not a ha-ha moment. But what I'm bringing to you is, to the loyalists, to the unionists that would be watching this, that you need to understand borders do not exist anymore. British borders don't exist. Scottish, Welsh, American, we're all in the same boat here. The the Republic of Ireland, the North of Ireland, we're all in the same boat. We want to get back to the days where we're just bickering about the old days. We don't. Where we're heading is Sharia law, where it's just a sea of tent poles. Women regress back 500 years. No age of consent. So let's control what's happening here first before we can bicker about what happened back in the 80s, because there's a bigger threat here. There's a big threat here. And you have prominent unionists linked in with far left groups that are pushing this agenda, that NGOs like Hope Not Hate that work for the government, that target people that are exposing government corruption. And apparently this prominent unionist is afraid. He's afraid to walk away from them. So what does that tell you? Not only is the Republican side of thing infiltrated by the whack jobs in Europe, but the unionist side is also infiltrated by the whack jobs in Europe. And we're going to talk about that in the second subject, which is going to be, why is Leo Varadkar selling his own country out? Why is he selling it out? Why is he selling out to the whack jobs in Europe? I'm going to explain to you my opinions in this. Now, as I say, everything I say here isn't fact, so everything's debatable. And if I miss something, always make sure to leave a comment and tell me what you think. So they're the two main subjects: how unionism in the north of Ireland has been infiltrated by far left politics, and the reason that Leo Varadkar has sold out Ireland to Europe. They're the two main subjects. And if we have enough time, we'll talk about Andrew Tate being a fake Muslim. I'm going to give you my opinion on that also. So they're the two subjects we're speaking about today. So we've came over to Rumble here, and this is my Rumble. If you want to go and follow me in Rumble, it's just Holden Official, capital H, capital O, all one word, sorry. And it's Holden Official. Go and follow me in Rumble. You get my uncensored opinions here also, along with my ex at Holden Official too. All lowercase for my ex. But this is the clip that I want you to see in regards to what I believe to be unionists exposed, just along with the nationalist parties in the north here. We all know the nationalist parties are working for Europe. They're trying to bring in central control for Europe, and they've sold out to Europe. They don't represent anybody of Ireland anymore, apart from if you come from Africa or the Middle East. They're trying to bring in droves of people under the aliases for economic reasons, but we all know what the real reason is. They're trying to change society as we know it. The Irish people have been called racist and far right and bigoted and homophobic, and we're none of those things. Actually, it's the people that they're bringing in are racist, homophobic, and bigoted. Hence why there's people on the streets of Ireland being targeted for being a certain sexuality or a certain religion. And they're also trying to demonize Christianity. You know why I think that is because Christianity is the one true religion. So whenever I seen this clip, I was thinking to myself, this is gold, man. This guy here, Paul Golding, we're going to watch this clip now. You know, he spent time around these people. So let's get into it now, and let's see what he has to say.
And at that time, was actually due to someone who was heavily involved in Britain BNP administration at the time. They actually inherited the old BNP's headquarters in Northern Ireland. So we was all working.
Is this Jim Dawson?
Yes, Jim Dawson.
What a rat. What a rat, man. Do you know, I'll tell my story on Jim Dawson. I've never met Jim Dawson. I got asked to go on a meeting with Jim Dawson. You were there?
I was there, yeah.
We went.
I wasn't there. It was a two-part meeting that day in Bedfordshire.
In Bedfordshire?
I was there for the first part, which was quite innocuous. It was just chit-chat.
So I went out to a meeting with him and Anne-Marie Waters, and what we were talking about at the time was the Mohammed cartoons, because the Mohammed cartoons had gone on. We was having this discussion, and literally by the time, say we had this meeting, we finished at 6 o'clock, by like 9 o'clock, there was breaking news story from Hope Not Hate that we were planning on instigating race riots. So Jim Dawson, the big, at the time, who was portrayed as this big loyalist in Northern Ireland, had openly admitted as well, being in contact with Hope Not Hate, so he was working in hand with Hope Not Hate, to give them this story that they could then pump around it went all over the media that we were planning on instigating race riots, and the source of their information was Jim Dawson. And I haven't seen him since.
So what you call that in the North, people, doesn't matter if you're a Republican, if you're a loyalist, you call that a rat. Now, back in the day, whenever the conflict was going on between Ireland, the IRA, and Britain, the IRA and the loyalist paramilitaries, one thing was certain, is that you were going to be infiltrated by rats that were going to give information to other people. Now, the loyalist paramilitaries and the Republican paramilitaries dealt with these people accordingly. I've always took this with me, and anybody that knows me personally, they give me information, even if I hate you, even if you hate me, you can be rest assured that that information will not leave my lips. It will not go anywhere, because I've been brought up to not be a rat. That's why you'll not see me get involved with a lot of people, because a lot of people are rats. Now, this geezer here, who's supposed to be a big loyalist from Northern Ireland, no, this guy was in cahoots. This loyalist was in cahoots with top Hope Not Hate people, who are a far left communist organization that targeted people not just on the right, but targeted people that were exposing government corruption. Because you know me, I'm neither right or left. I'm just straight down the middle. I'm for the truth, and that's, you don't go for either side. The truth will always be found in the middle. It's not about, this isn't about fence sitting. I don't sit in the fence with anything. It's about, where will you find the truth? Down the middle. There's two sides to every story, three sides to every story, but it's the third side that you find the truth. So that's a rat working with a far left communist organization that are just as bad as the likes of Antifa, if not worse. So for the unionists and loyalists to come in here, yes, you might have your opinions on certain people. You might have your opinions on Jim himself, but you have to understand this. You really need to understand this, is that he's not the only one talking to these people. There's many loyalist people in Ireland, north and south, that are speaking to these types of groups. This is just one that has been exposed. This is a rat, a proper full-scale rat that would sell his own people. And I would say the same thing if this was on the Republican side, like my side of things. There's many people on the Republican side of things that are actual rats that say they're that would say that they're a communist, but they're actually capitalizing on the suffering of others. So they say, oh, well, I'm a communist, I'm a socialist, I'm for everybody eating food. But then you find out that they've got shares in something, or they're promoting some business. So they're basically covert capitalists. They're rats. They're rats. So there's rats on both sides. So I don't want any loyalist or unionist to come in here and say, well, this is just coming from your side. No, unionism, loyalism in the north of Ireland has been infiltrated by far left whack jobs, just like the Republican side of things.
I tried ringing him 100 times. I said, you little rat, come and meet me. Because I just could not believe for what he'd been built up as.
I remember it well. The cartoonist plot.
The cartoonist plot.
That's what it
so
was,
the reality is, we didn't say that. But if we did, you're a snitch. You're a wrong one anyway. So you're big bad man over in Northern Ireland. That's what I just couldn't believe. I just thought, hold on. This absolute clown is just a snitch who works for Hope Not Hate.
Well, it was interesting because I remember I was on the other. I wasn't friends with you at the time.
Yeah.
I went and met you that day.
Yeah.
But then they come and met you in the evening
With and I think and it was
with
me
Anne-Marie
and
Waters.
Anne-Marie Waters. Yeah.
So
I just couldn't believe it.
he came back from that meeting and he was ringing me up in a panic. These guys are MI5. They're trying to stitch me up. They're trying to ignite a race war. They want me to be a part of it. They want me to be. I was like, shit, that's really bad, Jim. Turns out it was all absolute rubbish.
That's just an excuse for him to be
I
working.
think I spoke to you about it years later, didn't I? But it was just rubbish. But
what it woke me up to was that Hope Not Hate are in with everyone, because at the time he's clearly working on Hope Not Hate. For us to have a social conversation at that moment, and then 2 hours later it's on Hope Not Hate's website, and the only person there is Jim Dawson, and he admitted talking to them, and he's continued to this day. Yeah. He's continued to work alongside Hope Not Hate.
He's very close with Matthew Collins. Is it Matthew Collins?
Yeah, Matthew Collins.
Matthew Collins of Hope Not Hate. He's very close with him. They're on the phone, thick as thieves, almost every day. Yeah, that's what I remember. But yet he masquerades I haven't spoken to him, Jim Dawson, for many, many years.
He masquerades as his patriot.
Yeah, I know. I remember him specifically. You remember Jim Dawson left Britain first in 2014, so that's 10 years ago. Okay. I haven't been involved with him properly for 10 years. Mm. But I remember from 2014, probably up till 2019, I was still speaking to him.
Yeah.
And I know, I've seen it many, many times. He's thick as thieves with Matthew Collins of Hope Light, 100%.
Which is mental. That's
So there you go, guys. There you have it. And that's my point. Every political party in the north of Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, in mainstream political party, I mean, not the smaller groups, in England, Scotland, and Wales, is basically owned by the same people, and they do this out of fear. And this probably takes us into the next subject of Leo Varadkar and how and why is he selling his own country to Europe. There you have it, people. You know, there's it right in front of your face. I know there's going to be a lot of loyalist unionists coming in with sort of excuses and whatnot, saying, well, that's not all of unionism or loyalism. Well, I can say, well, that's not all of republicanism or nationalism, because right now there's a movement in the Republic of Ireland totally 100% opposed to the European agenda against Ireland. And we know what's happening here. We know about these groups like Antifa, Hope Not Hate, and there's many more of them that are NGOs that basically work for the government, non-government organizations that work for the government, that get paid by the government via other means, that target certain people that are trying to expose government corruption, and they have the grip in on unionism and loyalism and republicanism and nationalism. So this is what I'm trying to say. These borders are gone now. We have to stop thinking about the past. We have to stop thinking about those pesky Republicans or those pesky loyalists. We fought against each other. The BBC is one of the biggest propaganda tools that was ever created. The BBC actively told the people of Britain, on mainland England, Scotland and Wales, that every Irishman was in the IRA and we needed to be feared. And it was under 1% that was in the IRA. And on top of that, most of the time it was just the British military that was targeted. Yes, was there innocent people died on both sides? Yes. Was it terrible? And yes, do I think that should have happened? Definitely not. I think there's always a political way that you can rise up through the ranks, but sometimes you can't. And it's looking like with this situation with Europe in regards to what they're doing to Ireland, what they're doing to Britain, and who would have thought Brexit? I thought Brexit would have sorted all of this out, but it hasn't. It's actually made it worse. So what does that tell us? It doesn't matter what way you vote. There's always going to be a means for these corrupt politicians to get what they want. And you need to know this. It doesn't matter what country you come from in this European Union, even if you're Britain, every time you scan in to these meetings with Europe, you're automatically given money into your bank account. So there's an incentive for these people to liaise and to allow Europe to control them, because to turn away the money from Europe is a very, very hard thing. You're talking about trillions. And that's what we're going to speak about now. We're going to speak about Leo Varadkar. Now, why would Leo Varadkar sell out his own government? Think about this, right? Or sorry, his own country. Think about this, right? You're Leo Varadkar, and I hope Leo is stuck between a rock and a hard place in regards to this. You're one of the Davos clowns. You're wearing your makeup. That's fine. You can be a Davos clown, but you can still have a little bit of patriotism towards your country. Leo has none of these things. I've seen things to do with Leo, and I've heard things about Leo that I can't verify. But what I'm going to say to you is this guy's anything but an Irish patriot. This guy does not care about Ireland when it comes to for instance, the Irish language. He says it's a good wee language, and I try to learn as much of it as I can. That's not something you want to be hearing from the leader of Ireland. You want to be hearing staunch Irish nationalism policies, putting his people first. But his people are not the Irish people. His people are the Davos clowns. His people are Klaus Schwab. His people are WEF. His people are NWO organizations, NWO narratives. That's who his people are. They're not the Irish people. And I'm not just picking Leo out of this. I have to speak about Leo because Leo is the guy who's running Ireland, but it's the same with all the other people around Europe. They're owned by the same people. You may as well just single one out, and then you're speaking about them all. Now, I understand there is a rise in right-wing politics taking over the Netherlands and Argentina, but realistically, though, we can't trust these people either, because once they're presented with money from Europe, they will not turn that down. That's what it's about. Money controls everything. The reason why Leo Varadkar is selling out his country, the number one reason, he does not understand what it's like to be in the poorer areas of Ireland. He might have been there at one stage in his life whenever it was all fine and dandy and maybe there was a bit of trouble here and there, but he doesn't understand what it's like. Leo Varadkar probably drinks at average a €250 bottle of wine average for himself. So he is in the political class. When you're talking about the political class of people, you're not even talking about upper class. You're talking about people who don't really work on currency to a certain degree. They work on power. They can walk into restaurants and get stuff for free. Now, I would say it's going to be hard to find a restaurant that Leo can eat for free in Ireland, anywhere. But you get where I'm going with that. He's working in the realms of power. Yes, he's got money. Yes, he's a wealthy man, but he's working on power. And whenever you're working on power, and whenever your masters are Europe and the spider web, you have to see Europe as a spider web. And I'm just going to steal this from David Icke here, but I mean it in the same but a different way. So imagine Europe as a spider web, and you've got all these little dots all over the spider web, but in the center is the big girl herself. Now, the big girl is a terrible, terrible tarantula, and this tarantula could be made up of a couple of different things: the WEF, the NWO, a lot of different the Davos clowns. Do you get what I'm saying? So in the center there is the evil, and on the outside they're working for the center, the evil. So there isn't borders within this spider web. So whenever people come up to me and say, well, how do we stop this? Well, it's very hard. You have to elect somebody that can't be corrupted, that's not in this for the money, that's not in this like China for the long game, because what they really want, they want Europe to be like the United States of America. They want Europe to be like that, where there is no borders and people can travel freely. You can travel from California to New Zealand to Texas, and that's to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind it if it was like that. But the problem is there's people in certain areas of the world that they're allowing into these countries that are armed with a radical, dangerous ideology, and they're promoting Sharia law. Under Sharia law, there is no age of consent. Women literally do not have rights. Men can beat women. If they really wanted to, they could beat women, and there's no laws to protect women. In some countries under Sharia, women are only getting the right to drive. So think about that. Why are we allowing this radical ideology to come in? This isn't about Islam, because there's some really good progressive Muslims. But if you take those progressive Muslims away, behind them is a regression society that we're allowing in. And we're actually putting ourselves back 400 or 500 years. Now, the reason that our governments that Europe is allowing this in is because that religion can be used, because if we're all under Sharia law or under that radical side of Islam, not just Islam itself, because Islam's a beautiful thing, but I'm talking about the radical side of it, they can use that to enforce the policies that they want enforced in the future. Like, they can't do that under Christianity. Christianity is about love and forgiveness and about trusting Jesus Christ. Islam is about, if you turn against us, there's nowhere in the world that you can go. There's nowhere you can go. You can be a Muslim in Birmingham that whistle blows on, just say, a grooming gang. If you go to Australia and they find out who you are, even those Muslims in Australia or whoever it is, will target you if they find out, because that's how strong the brotherhood is. And that's why it's very attractive to young people. It's actually an easy religion to get into because it has this brotherhood. Christianity is about solitude. It's about giving to the poor. It's about helping others. It's about, if this man does badness unto me, I need to forgive him. I need to repent, and I need to pray for this man that he doesn't go to hell. In Islam, it's not about that. and especially the radical side, especially under Sharia law, it's about revenge. There's a lot of violence in a lot of these countries. Do you understand what I'm saying here? And that is a very handy tool for these corrupt people in the center of the spider web to use to throw out into Europe. And no better, let's just go to Africa, Boko Haram, go to the Middle East, ISIS, Al Qaeda. Just allow them all in. Hence why they're allowed to rip up their passport. Just rip up the passport and allow them in. It's better if they don't have identification, so then even the people on the street can't identify them. We'll give them a passport here, probably with a brand new alias. So the reason why Leo Varadkar is allowing this to happen to his country, because his masters are in the center of the spider web. He knows no different. He might not even know that he's doing this. He might be thinking, well, there's no problems in Ireland because the places where I drink, the places where I live, the places where I go to are very multicultural and everybody's lovely. And there's Brazilians here and there's Argentinians. Nobody's talking about the Brazilians or the Argentinians or even the people from the Middle East or the people from Africa. There's loads of beautiful people around Ireland that live in this country that get on great. But over the past 2 years, Leo Varadkar has allowed Europe, in the center of the spider web, he's allowed Europe to pump in radical extremists. And that's been happening. As I said, there's probably there's 150 plus, which could be 1,000 jihadi terrorists residing in Ireland. I'm not talking about the other people that support the jihadi terrorists. I'm talking about 150 people that are military trained, that promote Sharia law, that are war tacticians living in Ireland. And anybody and people on the far left and people on the left aren't scared about this. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to your own country? Well, I've just told you, because they want this type of religion because they can enforce their policies with this. And it's the long game. It might not be 5 years. It might not be 10 years. It's the long game. China does this. Communists do this. If you are a true communist, it's not about what happens next year. It's about what happens in the next 50 years. They play the long game because there's no singular person. It's about the herd, the hive. And that's what Europe's trying to do. And they're trying to do this. And in the future, they'll be bringing in things like a European digital currency. I don't know how the Americans will take that, by the way. A European digital currency with 15-minute cities where you will not need to walk any more than 15 minutes. You're already seeing that in the Republic of Ireland. You don't need to walk any further than 15 minutes. And the government controls your money because it's all digital with their crypto, with the government crypto, the European crypto. And you'll have a social credit score. You've been uploading your consciousness to Facebook for the past 15 years. They know everything about you. I'm the biggest advocate on telling people, do not be putting any information onto the likes of Facebook. Facebook is literally a government-owned organization that is collecting your data. Or if it's not a government-owned organization, they will eventually buy that data that they own, and all your information will be there. So there's the start of your social credit score. Now, let's just say this: 20 years, 15 years, 10 years down the line, there's a social credit score. Everything I've just said is true, hypothetically speaking, right? They've got control of your money. You go against some government narrative that you don't like, that they're trying to implement further control on you. Now your social credit score goes down. So they've got control of your money with the crypto. You can't buy groceries, or you can just buy basic rations. This is what I'm trying to say. And then how they alienate people in communist societies with social credit scores. If you're around people that are undesirable, that have got a low credit score, your credit score will also lower. So then you stay away from people with low credit scores, and you alienate those people and you isolate those people. And that's what it is. It's about full control of the human consciousness. And it is coherently evil. 100% this is evil. And it's a move away from actual religion. So if you're a Muslim, they don't care about Islam, by the way. If you're a Muslim, that'll be abolished. They do not want you talking about God. They do not want you worshiping God. Hence why Zelensky is arresting priests in his country and imprisoning them. They do not want you worshipping God. They want you worshipping them. That is the whole goal of this. And it will be population control too. There's a lot of stuff in the pipeline with these psychotic sociopaths. Trust me in this. This is the future if we allow this. And I don't mean to affect people's mental health here. I'm just telling you what I think is going to happen. So there is no borders in and to answer the question just straight down the line, the reason why Leo Varadkar is doing this, he might not even know that he's doing it. For number one, he's not around these areas that are affected by the mass migration and the people coming in with a radical ideology. He doesn't care because he's not around it. Number two, his masters work for the center of the spider web in Europe, and they control him, and he can't live without their funding. They are the two main reasons. So it's very important who Ireland elects in. And here's the rock and the hard place for anybody that actually takes over the job of Ireland. And here's the rock and the hard place if Leo Varadkar ever wakes up and thinks to himself, I want to help Ireland now. The long game would be to stay in Europe and allow all this to happen and allow the billions of from Europe to filter into Ireland, right? Or he turns full patriot and he turns for full nationalism and he listens to the people of Ireland, but then there's less money coming in and they have to work on their own resources and outsource companies to sell their own resources to and make money that way. Try to sort of like have Ireland as an economic business and try to make money that way. Personally, myself, I think Ireland needs to be less dependent on other countries. You're seeing that with what they're doing to the farmers. They're increasing the prices of everything. They're bringing in this net zero carbon shit that, you know, is basically just trying to destroy the farmers. And that's also a tool for Europe to destroy the individual farmer of whatever country it is. So then they have full control of the food supply going to these countries. And what's most of the products that are coming in here coming from these government-owned, you know, farmers? They're all sprayed with the nastiest pesticides that you've ever came across in your life. And they literally don't care. They literally do not care what to put on them. And you know, just in my opinion, that comes in with my theory on population control. I'm just saying. So anybody, if Leo Varadkar wants to help the country, it's about promoting Ireland to be more independent away from the psychopaths and putting the Irish people first, or staying in Europe and maybe in 15 to 20 years time, everybody in Europe and in Britain basically living in a communist society. Don't say I didn't warn you. But the person that comes in, just say, for instance, Leo Varadkar gets voted out and there's a new person in. It doesn't matter if this person is right-wing. It doesn't matter if this person is left-wing. You need to always be putting the pressure on them for more independence of Ireland. More independence for Ireland. If you see them taking money from Europe, for whatever reason, if you see them going over to Europe more than what they should, they're getting money from that. And it doesn't matter if you're right-wing or left-wing. Once you're given money, you will not turn that away. So you need somebody in there that is really, really selfless, that is actually for the people, that's going to turn away the 2 million euro, the 100 million euro. You know, he's going to say, no, we can do this on our own. And actually, like a Donald Trump, actually, hold on, we're going to cut a new deal with you, Europe, because we're producing more of our own crops. We're producing more of our own meat. We're producing more of A, B, and C. And we want to cut a new deal with you. So then we can make more profit that's going to benefit Ireland. Leo Varadkar isn't going to do that because he is owned by those psychopaths. And I hope that explains it a little bit. There's more ins and outs to it. There's better people that's going to explain it than me. There's better people than me that's going to explain that. That's just a generalization of it, but that's why he's doing it. That is why he's doing it. And there's the worries and the risks and the things that you need to know for anybody that in the future that's going to come in. Right, so now we're going to talk about Andrew Tate and how he's actually a fake Muslim. So Andrew Tate is 100% a fake Muslim. Now, Andrew Tate's probably not going to see this. He's probably doesn't care, and rightly so. I actually think he's one of the most entertaining characters ever, and I think they did target him. And I need to know this. This isn't coming from a hate narrative. I don't hate Andrew Tate. I'm not against him. I think he brings a lot of positive things to young men. Do I disagree with him on a few things? Yeah, sure. But I think it's more for entertainment value why I watch him. I always tune into the Rumble to see Andrew Tate speak about things, and I think it's funny. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's he's got charisma. His brother's good to bounce off each other. So this isn't coming from a hate side of things. But he's 100% a fake Muslim, and I'm going to explain to you how he's actually weaker than strong. He's more weak than strong. I just need to know this. So Andrew Tate became a Muslim. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you get a vision of Muhammad, you have a dream some night and you're compelled to go to Islam, 100%. I get that. But there's a lot of young men joining Islam today. And there's a lot of young men today promoting Sharia. And do you know what I'll do? I'll share something to the screen for you to prove what I mean. This is Andrew Tate, in my opinion, promoting Sharia law. So this is a retweet from Andrew Tate from a guy called Owen Benjamin. I think, is that a comedian? I think I know who Owen Benjamin is. People keep asking me if I'm Muslim. I've never read the Quran, so I can't be, but I really like Sharia law. It's clear, destroys subversion, promotes wealth, no income tax, and whatever that word is. The tax of non-Muslims is very small and excludes you from military service. So this is a guy that likes Sharia law. I don't know if he's taking the piss. He could be taking the piss. And Andrew Tate says, welcome, brother, right? So you've seen that. That's what that says. Andrew Tate's welcoming a person into Islam, but this person is promoting Sharia law. So why would Andrew Tate be in favor of Sharia law? He could have said, well, welcome to Islam, brother, but I disagree with you on Sharia law. Now, you know what Sharia law is, don't you? I've spoken about this a few times. Sharia law is a form of law in Islam. I think it's in the Quran. I haven't really read the Quran too much, but I don't need to. I don't need to educate myself any further, because whenever I found out what Sharia law is, it basically, a person of a region that is owned by Islam can bring in Sharia law, and under that law, that said individual can dictate how aggressive or progressive Sharia law is. Now, it just so happens they choose aggressiveness. So if you're a thief, then you can get your hands cut off for stealing a loaf of bread if you're hungry. This also applies to rapists and pedophiles. And I agree on that front, because I'm also against that, obviously. But think about it this way. Oh, yes, and women do not have rights under Sharia law. Yeah, they have to cover up. Everybody's walking about looking like zombies, like tent poles. And it's only quite recently under certain provinces that's ran under Sharia law with certain dictators that women are allowed to drive. Men are allowed multiple wives, and you're basically allowed to beat your wife. So it's not a good thing. And even when it comes to the pedophile and rapist thing, under Sharia law, it's not, there's probably court cases and stuff, but you don't need the evidence like you would need in a Western country. So, for instance, I could make an allegation of somebody being a rapist or a pedophile, and that certain dictator who's dictating the rules under that certain Sharia law can say, well, okay, I believe you. Let's kill this guy. Let's burn this guy to death. And this guy could be innocent. So Sharia law is one of the worst things on planet Earth, right? You just need to know this. And it is that under Sharia law, you are regressing your society back 400 years. You're going back to the dark ages, 100%. That's why I'm against that type of ideology coming into the West. Now you understand that. Here's how Andrew Tate is a fake Muslim. Now, as I said, I like Andrew. This isn't coming from a hateful place. But why did Andrew Tate join Islam? He didn't join Islam because he had a vision of Muhammad. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I'm assuming he didn't. He joined Islam because of the brotherhood. So for Andrew Tate, it's not about the religion. It's not about the God. Andrew Tate could be an atheist for all I know. It's about the brotherhood, and it's about, well, that Christianity, look at that Pope. So Andrew Tate's castle was Christianity, right? And he abandoned his castle to jump ship to another castle, which is Islam, because it benefited him. Because, Andrew Tate didn't go to the poor regions of Africa that are ran by Islam, like certain areas of a Boko Haram, and think, you know what? This religion's for me. He went to Saudi Arabia. He went to rich Islamic countries and says, I love the brotherhood here, and I love the fact that these people are wealthy. I'm going to join this religion. So it's sort of like a traitor. Andrew Tate is a traitor to his birth religion, which is Christianity. That's what he is. There's not even a debate about this. That's basically what he is. He's a traitor. So what I would say to Islam and to the Muslims, if he's able to do that to his birth religion, which is Christianity, if Buddhism starts being a popular thing and you get Sigma male Buddhists, he's going to jump ship from Islam to Buddhism because it suits him. Now, his brother Christian Tate, he's a true warrior. He is a true warrior. His brother sits there with Andrew while Andrew's talking about, things being haram and whatnot, while he's smoking a cigar, by the way, and talking profanities, which I also think is haram. So it's like, yeah, his brother's a proper warrior because throughout of all of this, Christian Tate has kept his Christianity. He's kept his faith. He says that he's Orthodox. He's not Orthodox. If you're an Orthodox Christian, anything that deviates you away from Christ is considered demonic. I'm not even Orthodox. You devote your whole life to Christ. Your whole life is devoted to Jesus Christ. So Christian Tate isn't Orthodox. But he says that he is, and I respect that, and I respect his struggles in life. And to be Christian means to be a warrior. You do not need a brotherhood because all you need in your life is Jesus Christ. You do not need 100 people. You do not fear. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. You can walk alone into 100 demons, knowing that no matter what they do to you, you're following Jesus Christ. In Islam, it's a bit different. Yes, they still believe in Jesus. They think Jesus is a prophet, and that's fine. They've got religious freedom and they can believe whatever they want. But in Islam, people fear the people of Islam. They fear the people of this realm. In Christianity, we do not fear the people of this realm. We do not fear the persecution in this realm. What we fear is not living accordingly and loving others. So whenever we move on to the other realm, which is our heaven, we fear going to hell, not being accepted into heaven because of how we lived on this earth. So we have to live and love accordingly. In Islam, it's a tool used to manipulate young people today to get them into what it looks like to be a cult. Because I don't even think Christianity is not a religion. It's a belief system. And Andrew Tate seen Islam and said to himself, that's attractive to me. Because these motherfuckers are doing some mad shit. A lot of them, are doing, blowing themselves up for the cause. You don't do that in the name of God. You do that in the name of the devil. You need to know that. I'm not getting at all Muslims because there's some really, really good, vast majority of them are really very good people that have grew up in an Islamic society and they're good, decent Muslims. So what I'm trying to say to you is Andrew Tate didn't join because he was attracted to Muhammad or he was attracted to the Quran. He was attracted to the religion of Islam because it was going to give him a brotherhood and possibly wealth. He talked about this. He said, oh, you have the Pope allowing drag queens. The Pope's demonic. Any good Christian, any good Catholic or whatever good Christian does not follow the followings of the Vatican. That's Rome, brother. That's Rome. You follow the scriptures of Jesus Christ. That's the true word. It's always been demonic to us. That's all we. It doesn't matter if it's a priest, because it says in the Bible, you're the person. I'm gonna butcher this, by the way. You're the person who brings charges upon a priest. That's people who bring charge. Because people say, well, aren't a lot of the priests are pedophiles? No, you can slay those people because they aren't priests. Those people are pedophiles. They're demonic. They've got nothing to do with Jesus Christ. But for instance, Zelensky is the type of person to bring charges upon a priest. because he hates Christianity. He's not charging them for pedophilia. He's charging them for being Christian. It's the persecution of Christians. And this was foretold that we were going to be persecuted against. And there's weak people like Andrew Tate that was in the castle of Christianity that jumped ship because he was afraid, because it didn't suit his narrative. And it just so happens there's a holy war going on at the minute, that there's people, Christians are being targeted. It's been foretold that we're going to be persecuted against. And I will accept that persecution. I will accept that death. I will accept that torture, because I know what the truth is. Where people like Andrew Tate are coherently, they're weak people, and all they know, and money is their God. That's all they know. And that's not what it's about. That's literally not what it's about. So hopefully I've explained that to you, and that's my opinion on Andrew Tate being a fake Muslim. Right, guys, that's the end of the video. Make sure to smash the like button if you're on YouTube, subscribe and hit that notification bell, leave a comment and tell me what you think. All opinions are welcome in the comment section. If you're watching this on X, make sure to give this a wee retweet, share it. It's always good. Make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section also to know your opinions. If I don't get back to your comment, know that I read your comments. Sometimes I get too many comments to reply to them all, so I apologize about that, but I do read your comments, so make sure that you leave a comment and tell me what you think. If you're watching this on Rumble, make sure to give this a rumble and do the same thing. Leave a comment and tell me what you think, and follow me there too. And yes, guys, if you're watching this on X or Rumble, make sure to jump over to my YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell to my YouTube channel, and if you're watching this on YouTube, head over and follow me on Rumble and Twitter. Sorry, X, formerly known as Twitter. Just use the handles on the screen. Yeah, and that's it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Peace.